Thank you for attending our presentation, Developing Innovative Solutions to Address Common Criticisms of OER. We are Stephen Beckermann, Ed Minnema, Michael Olesen, and Melissa Williams from Minnesota State Colleges and Universities. We are excited to discuss some innovative approaches to OER development that we're exploring. By the end of our session, you'll be able to explain why a modular and searchable OER design can really make the difference in persuading faculty to use OER in their teachings. We'll also be talking about our solutions to the challenge of ensuring our OER offer alignment across state standards and accreditation in a way that allows for adoption on a national level. And finally, by the end of our presentation, we hope that you will be as eager as we are to advocate for approaching OER development with an equity and accessibility lens from start to finish, seeing the advantages that system and institutional level OER support programs bring to enabling this kind of intentionality of equitable design in what we create and share. A recent EDUCAUSE article addresses some common reasons that faculty cite for not shifting to OER for their classes. While the article expresses these issues in a slightly different way, we can summarize them in three areas: quality, time, and inclusivity. Faculty and students alike often believe that OER lack quality in comparison to publisher resources. And although this is not true across the board, the degree of quality in available OER varies widely. Because they are often generated by individual faculty who may lack the skills or resources to produce a polished end product, often OER lack extensive editing, contemporary educational technologies such as interactive learning objects, or technologies that break easily, especially when transferred to a different learning environment, and designed for effective learning. Further, many OER are one and done products without a review and revision cycle, resulting in many becoming obsolete or just hard for others to use within a few years of their publication. Perhaps the biggest challenge faculty cite when it comes to adopting OER is how much time it takes them to sift through the mountain of resources, determine what elements of those resources are pertinent to their course outcomes or any field-specific certification and accreditation requirements, and construct a version of the OER that is tailored to their needs. It's rare that faculty are paid for this kind of searching and curation, and often they are not confident in their ability to curate a truly effective textbook on their own. A final crucial concern has arisen, especially in recent years, ensuring that the OER faculty select incorporates accessibility and culturally responsive pedagogical practices. While faculty have increased their awareness of the importance of both accessibility and culturally inclusive pedagogical practices, often they are unsure how exactly to evaluate OER for these elements. And unfortunately, these elements aren't always present in many OER either. These factors in combination can push faculty past their frustration tolerance, leading them to give up on the potential of OER and return to publisher offerings instead. Minnesota State is attempting to address these three challenges by reimagining the OER creation process. Through an OTP grant, we are providing system-level support for the creation of not just textbook resources, but full course materials for 6 foundational teacher education courses. One of the biggest challenges in generating teacher education OER is that every state has a different set of certification requirements for teacher educators. Our project is addressing this issue along with the quality, time, and inclusivity issues previously discussed. There are 6 key factors to our design. First, we're aligning not just the overall course, but every single module, face-to-face or online synchronous activity, asynchronous activity, and assessment in the course to national teacher education standards, specifically from the Interstate New Teacher Assessment and Support Consortium, known as INTASC. Many state standards are already crosswalked to in-task standards, and so faculty in any given state can identify how our in-task alignments also indicate alignments between their individual state standards and our material. This modular alignment, combined with our use of the Pressbooks platform, enables faculty to quickly identify the specific elements of our OER that they would like to use and select only those elements to import into their own Pressbook. We'll walk through an example of how this can work in just a few minutes. The Pressbooks platform also allows for greater personalization, both for faculty and for students. Faculty can exercise their academic freedom by choosing only the elements appropriate for their classroom and for their students as well. Because our OER heavily rely on interactive learning objects, deeper dives into the subject matter that students can choose to explore, and renewable assignments and activities that invite students to personalize their learning experience, there are multiple paths students can choose to achieve the learning outcomes. Our fourth crucial element is accessibility. Because these OER are being developed with the support of learning professionals well-versed in accessibility practices, and because we are employing a rigorous accessibility testing process, users can be confident that the resources they choose from our OER will meet accessibility standards without having to possess their own expertise in checking and implementing accessibility. These learning professionals are also able to implement culturally responsive teaching practices that research has shown reduces common equity disparities in student learning outcomes. Much of what we've described in the first 5 elements of our project are informed by research in learning sciences, but additional practices for effective learning based on learning science research are also integrated throughout these courses. Let's talk about how we address quality concerns. Our teacher education OER start with a tech-forward design. We use a learner-centered approach, inviting engagement and choice through our technology choices. Elements include H5P interactive learning objects, link outs to primary sources and contemporary debates that invite the learner to further explore relevant topics beyond the textbook, and technology-based activities and formative assessments for instructors to use in both face-to-face and online learning environments. Current learning science research has led us to incorporate elements like pre-questioning to introduce each module, built-in self-testing opportunities and other retrieval practice activities, strategic use of icons and other key multimedia designs based on the work of Richard Meyer, and an assessment structure that adheres to the Transparency in Learning and Teaching, or TILT, framework. Our approach to OER development addresses one of the primary frustrations faculty describe when they are considering moving to OER for their course materials: time. Rather than having to review a course in its entirety and determine what resources are in alignment with their needs, we have created a searchable, granular alignment that indicates which of the 173 specific in-task standards align to each module's content, the hundreds of interactive learning objects offered throughout our courses, a variety of synchronous activities that can be conducted either face-to-face or in live online environments, multiple discussions and other asynchronous practices available as homework or study preparation, and assessments with rubrics, all of which align individual grading criteria to at least one in-task alignment. Using the state of Minnesota's teacher education standards as an example, we provide written and video guides for crosswalking U.S. state standards to in-task standards. Note, too, that several states used in-task to create their standards or have already completed this crosswalk, so many faculty can simply reference pre-existing crosswalks for this step in the search. Next, potential users can leverage the glossary and index functions within our Pressbooks to locate all the instances where alignment is in place. Because we assume many faculty will want to provide their own press book to students as a textbook, and then bring activities and assessments into their institution's learning management system, we're also providing a common course cartridge version of the course as a file within Pressbooks. That way, faculty can choose to directly import materials into their LMS in a pre-formatted way without having to cut and paste and adjust our materials to work within their LMS's gradebook and other functions. So here we have a very specific example using the state of Minnesota's teacher certification standards administered by the Professional Educator Licensing and Standards Board, or PELSB for short. PELSB Standard 6B is almost word for word the same as INTEST Standard 9J. The alignment's very clear. So a faculty member teaching in a teacher education program in the state of Minnesota who needs to cover 6B in their particular course would be able to use this crosswalk to determine that in-task specific standard 9J is what they need to seek in our OER offering. Using the index function within Pressbooks, they would be able to pull up our list of modular activities aligned to 9J. The example we are sharing here is from Module 1 of our Introduction to Special Education course. A potential adopter of this OER could then choose from 4 interactives, 2 synchronous activities that could be conducted either in face-to-face classrooms or in a video conference environment, 2 asynchronous activities that could be assigned as homework to bring into a classroom or used within an LMS, and 2 summative assessments that include detailed instructions and a rubric where every criterion is directly aligned to a specific INTEST standard. This potential adopter wouldn't have to choose all of these resources in order to cover PELSB 6B. Rather, they could choose the options that were the best fit for their students, their teaching modality, their personal approach to the academic content, and materials they are already using. They could opt to use their own press book to import their specific choices, and they could opt also to upload the Common Course cartridge to their LMS, selecting only the items they wanted in their online course presence. To reiterate then, the value here lies in the faculty member's ability to quickly search for directly aligned materials and only import the ones that are a fit for their classroom without having to review the entire course offering or do any manual editing. So now let's talk about equity in OER. In addition to relying on learning professionals who have been trained in both accessibility practices and in culturally responsive pedagogical practices, our project engages in 2 transparent, externally developed review processes. First, in collaboration with Minnesota State's Accessibility Committee, we will put each course through a user experience review conducted by student users of assistive technologies. The subsequent review results will be used to complete any additional accessibility remediation that is needed, and the review will be available as part of the Pressbooks for potential adopters to read themselves. We are also employing the Branched Equity rubric developed by the Branch Alliance for Educator Diversity, which is itself an OER. This extensive rubric allows for evaluation of OER content in 4 key areas: learner-centeredness, critical perspectives and thinking, culturally sustaining content, and universal design for learning. Each module was reviewed by an equity coach after its initial drafting, using the Branched Equity rubric as a guide for feedback. As each course is built within Pressbooks, a more formal use of the Branched Equity rubric will be employed, and the resulting score and commentary will be posted as documentation for potential adopters to review. Our intent is to imbue confidence in future users that they can adopt these materials with the knowledge that they have been designed on a foundation of equity and accessibility. This project is still in progress and would not be possible without the collaboration of many people across the Minnesota state system. Our sincere thanks and appreciation to all our partners.